You can create the perfect home, but it can be destroyed by something beyond your control. Your neighbours.
It's just ruined my life that last 12 months. It just got worse and worse and worse.
It was horrendous. The smell just hit you like a smack in the face.
And when neighbours live like this, the only option may be to move out. Which is exactly what Catherine Marsden had to do. In 1999, she bought this end-of-terrace house in Manchester. At the time, she thought she'd found her ideal home.
I lived there about 3 years when I noticed a bad smell in the bathroom. At that point, I thought it was coming through the drains in the house. And eventually the smell got worse. It actually travelled because it was adjoining wall to next door, to near the front door.
That's where 43-year-old David lived.
The only odd occasion that you would see him was early in the morning leaving the house. Being in my position, obviously I wanted to go out and have a go at him, but I realised then it wasn't worth doing because he wasn't going to listen. He seemed a bit of a recluse.
Cleaning made no difference, so Catherine called for outside help.
At that point, I phoned the environmental health, and they said until the smell got worse, that they wasn't going to do anything about it.
It did get worse, and the smell soon attracted unwanted visitors.
You couldn't open your front door and go to your bin, because the cats would come into your house. They were all around mine. I used to come home in the car and they'd be sat on the drive and on the bin and on the shed at the back.
And the problems inside her home were getting more and more disgusting.
I'm not exaggerating, there must have been 30, 40 blue bottles just upstairs flying round. I didn't know anything about them, but I was told that they come from maggots, and maggots rest on dead meat. So at that point, obviously, I started to think that there was something untoward next door that was worse than what had been happening.
It was only after the RSPCA got involved that the neighbours did discover what was happening. After receiving reports about the cats, inspectors got a court order to enter the property. They took a camera along, and what they found was horrific and disturbing for animal lovers.
The front door wouldn't open properly because there was so much filth behind the front door. There was newspapers and feces in bags, and in the hallway you couldn't actually see the first sort of 2 or 3 steps of the stairs. It was just a mound of filth. The smell just hit you as you went in. All the worktops of the kitchen were just covered in filth where the cats had been running around. Kitchen cupboards were open, there was cats in the cupboards. There was 2 big piles of cat feces in the 2 corners. The kitchen sink was just a soup of fecal matter. The corner of the kitchen, the floor had actually collapsed, and there was cats coming up from underneath the floorboards and running around. And the number of cats was building just as we went from room to room. Every room had cats in. The cats were getting up and down to the loft just by using a normal aluminium ladder. There was no light up there because the bulb had gone, so we were just purely using torchlight, and there was a lot of boxes and bags of rubbish, so as he was shining the torchlight around the loft, you just get, pairs of eyes glowing back at you. After about 10 minutes it was becoming unbearable, really, the smell. It was that powerful. The whole house had essentially become one large litter tray.
David lived in this house while holding down a full-time job in the local tax office. In the kitchen, Ben made a gruesome discovery.
Underneath the kitchen table, there was a decomposed cat. There was only really skin, fur and bones left. Once the cleaners had stripped out the bathroom, removed all the cider cans, and we were actually able to get underneath the bath, there was another dead cat. You sometimes get situations like this where you're just completely bewildered as to how it's got to this stage, and you know, how can you not know that there's a dead cat under your kitchen table? It beggars belief, really.
The RSPCA removed 61 cats from the house. 2 were dead, while many more were sick and difficult for the inspectors to handle.
They were lashing out and scratching and biting. You know, they weren't cats which were going to make good pets. You know, unfortunately, the decision had to be made that, you know, a large number of those cats had to be put to sleep.
In all, 55 cats had to be put down. It took 6 months and £50,000 to clean and repair the house. By that time, Catherine had already moved out. She's never seen the video of the house that used to adjoin hers.
Ooh. I feel quite sick. I didn't realise the state of the house next door. It's just horrific. I've never seen anything like it in my life at all. It seems unreal that that's what I've lived next door to.
I've been doing the job for 4 years, and I think if I do the job for another 4 years, I probably won't go to another house like that.
In November 2007, David received a 3-month suspended jail sentence and a life ban on keeping animals. He was also ordered to repay the £50,000 cleaning bill.
He admitted to me that he was embarrassed and ashamed of the state of his house, and he didn't want to request help because he feared that the animals were going to be put down.
But at least there's a happy ending for the 4 cats who've got new homes. This one, Tom, now lives in Knutsford, Cheshire. Moving from cat hell to cat heaven.